Hello and welcome to the fourth tutorial where we would be talking about the arithmetical and the logical operators. But before proceeding to that, I would really like to tell you about what an operators are. An operator is a symbol that tells Python to perform a specific calculation or operation. Operators are of different types: plus, minus, multiplication, division. These are the example of the mathematical operators. These are also known as arithmetical operators, and these are mostly used for calculations. Now, it's just not that. We also have something known as logical operators. Now, what are logical operators? It includes comparison between two, that whether it's greater than or it's lesser than, if the both values are equal to each other, or maybe it's greater than or greater than equal to or lesser than equal to, as well as the last one is not equal to. So we basically compare two numbers to have a look whether it satisfies our condition or not. So let's test them one by one. Let's first start working with the arithmetical operators and let's see if actually we could add two numbers or not. For that, I'll be taking up two variables, a equal to 9 and b equal to 3. And we need to add this. So simply let me print addition of a and b. And I'll simply give a comma over here and I write down a plus b. And let's do something. Let's run this. See, addition of a and b is 12. Okay? So now it actually gives me the addition of two numbers. So definitely it can give me the multiplication, division, and subtraction as well. Now let's do something. Let's try looking at if a is greater than 9 or not. If I write this down, what it says false. But what is the value stored over here? It's 9, right? That means we can use something over here which is known as greater than equal to. And if I try this out, it will tell me that the value is true. It is definitely a is greater than equal to 9. Okay? Now I can also try out one more thing, that is print a is equal to b. Can you tell me something? Is a actually equal to b? No, right? So this should return the value as false because you are comparing. And if you are comparing, it can only have two values, whether it is true or it's false. So it's giving you the false value because they are not same. But if by any chance these two numbers would have been same, let me just make them same. And if I try to run this again, have a look. It says it's true. So we have used double equal to sign over here. So we have used double equal to sign over here. What does double equal to sign basically means? This is used for comparison, comparing two different numbers. But if I talk about single equal to, this is just for assignment. You have assigned a as 9. So remember this. This is a very good interview question which will help you later. And this logic should also be clear, that what is the difference between single equal to sign and double equal to sign. Now, let's proceed and let's talk about this one, not equal to. What exactly not equal to is? So let's say if I print A is not equal to B. I'm using Prettifier as one of my plugins over here. That's the reason it's changing these into the operators which we mostly write down when we are using a copy and a pen. So basically, the symbol looks like this, but when we write down in mathematical form, we write it in this way. So now let's just try printing this, whether this is true or not. So let me just mention the context so that you don't get confused. Over here, we are trying to check whether A is not equal to B. And if I run it, have a look. False. A is not equal to B. Since A is equal to B and we are trying to say it's not equal to B, that is the reason it's saying that you're wrong. That's false. Okay. But if I try doing something like, again, changing the value and running the code again, have a look. It's true. That means A is actually not equal to B. 9 is not equal to 7. As simple as that. So till now, what we were doing were we were just assigning the variables beforehand. We were not making it interactive with the user. So let's learn one more thing over here. That is how to take an input from the user. So let's say I want to ask the person who is in front of me his name. So what will I do? I'll write down name is equal to input enter your name. Okay, if I do this now and if I try to run this, it says enter your name. Let's say I'm writing Simran and I pressed enter. You see, this is a little different than normal. This is basically the input which I have given, but I don't see anything. It's just ended. So let's actually print a message with that. So let's print hi with that name. Let's add how are you? How are you? Okay. And let's try to run this once again. So it's asking, like it stopped here. It's asking for the name. So let me just write down my name again. And have a look. Hi Simran, how are you? So isn't it cool that Python can actually talk to us and take the values from us? Just not over here. Over here, what we are doing, we are using this input function. It's similar to that print function where it actually gives out or displays the output, whereas input takes in something and stores it wherever it is required. It takes the value from the user and stores it in name. Now, if I talk about enter your name written over here, this actually plays a very crucial role. Like, let's say if I just leave this over here And if I try to run this again, it will completely run fine. But it's not saying anything over here that what exactly we need to do, right? So for this only, you will have to mention the string over here so that the person at least understands what you need to do. Like if it's just over here, it's stuck at a moment that you need to give an input, but no one actually sees it, right? Till you give a proper statement. So that's the reason I had written over here, enter your name. So that if you see this, you could actually enter the name. Now, this is how you take an input in a string. But what if you have to take an input in an integer? Since we now know about data types, they all are different. Number is different, a string is different, a float is different, right? So if we need to take a number as an input, what we would do, let's take num as the name of the variable, and I'll take int, int input. This is how you take a number as the input. Give me a number. And let me just print the number. I'll print num. Let's try running this and then I'll tell you a few more things about it. Enter your name. Let me just enter a name. Hi Himan, how are you? Give me a number. Give me a number. What if I write down 7? Any idea what would happen? You can comment down below and tell me what is in your mind. If you said it will give us an error, it will give us an error, definitely yes, it will give us error. It's because we are asking for an integer and what we are giving? We are giving a word. So definitely it's not possible for our Python to understand what exactly is going on. So now let me just write down the name again and give me a number. I'm giving it a 5. So it will give me 5 as the answer as well. Okay, now next let's have a look in the float values, about the float values. So if I write down decimal, decimal is equal to FL float. See, this came up. Float, give me a decimal value. So if I give it a decimal value, what will it basically do? It will print it. Let's print it actually. It will store a decimal value. So let's print decimal. And let's run it once again. Enter your name. What if I enter my name as a number? Do you have any idea what will this do? Let's take a number and see. Hi 12, how are you? So it is actually taking or considering 12 as a string. If you remember when we were talking about data types, I told you the conversion from number to string or float to string is possible, but it's the vice versa is not possible. That means you cannot convert a number to a string. That means you cannot convert a string to a number or a string to a float. All right. Now it asks me for a number, so I'm giving it a number as 98. And since I pressed enter, It's telling me that there is some issue, the value error. You know why? Because I pressed enter twice. I did not give it any value. So that is the reason it could not convert it. That it was a value error. If you just do not give any value, it will again give you an error. So let me run one last time over here and let me just give me a number 4. Okay, so I missed input over here, writing input over here. So basically, I forgot to write input over here. My mistake. So now if I try once again, and now it's asking me for a decimal value, that's I can give it a decimal value, any value, and it will give me the number back again. So this is how we can take an input as a string, as a number, or as even a decimal. So let it be this much for this session. We would meet in the next tutorial, but before that, we would be solving a project. All together, whatever we have learned from tutorial 1 to tutorial 4 will consist of all the concepts. I hope you would enjoy it, and let's meet in the project session. Have a good day.